Hi, good evening. This is the presentation for Dr. Magdalene and Romuna and presented by Siti Amelia binti Shaik Pawan Chee. This is the presentation for Project 1 KNJ6054 with the title The Study of Hazards and Risks at Automotive Workshop. The first one is the abstract. Risk assessment process component of risk management. Impracticable to achieve the workplace hazards-free. Comprehensive and workable technique in reducing the risk of hazard. Risk assessment components. Hazard identifying, risk analysis, and risk evaluation. Process of risk assessment will be conducted at Automotive Workshop, Polytechnic Kuching Sarawak, and several automotive workshops at Matang, Kuching area. Purpose to gather the relative data and information for the sustainable development in safety and health, particularly at workshop visit. The information and data will be used as guidance to set up this information and set the necessary management controls in order to persuade the minimum risk of hazard. Problem statement. Workshop areas are well known as places where accident often occurs. Worldwide, workshop workers are more likely to be killed and likely to be injured as workers in other critical occupations such as construction workers. The cost of these accidents are immense to the individual, to the employer, and to society. To make things worse, the accident may cause physical injuries or health illness. The most effective way to assure a safer workplace at workshop area is risk management. These are the objectives for this project. The first one is to identify types of hazards. The second one, to make a risk assessment for the sustainable development at chosen workshop. And the last one is to reduce the existing risk potential. Scopes. Identify hazard available at PKS, automotive workshop, and selected automotive workshop. Risk analysis and risk evaluation. The important to study risk assessment are as they form an integral part of an occupational health and safety management plan. They help to, the first one, create awareness of hazards and risks. Identify who may be at risk. For example, employees, cleaners, visitors, contractors, the public, and etc. Determine whether a control program is required for a particular hazard. Meet legal requirement where applicable. Determine if existing controls are adequate or if more should be done. Prevent injuries or illnesses, especially when done at the design or planning stage. Prioritize hazards and control measures. Hazard identification. A hazard is a situation that has potential for loss in terms of the injury or damage to property or the environment. There are several hazard identification and techniques mentioned. The main techniques are the fundamental methods, including hazard or operability studies, HAZOP, failure mode and effect analysis, FMEA, failure mode and effect and critical analysis, FMECA, checklists, and the comparative techniques use checklists based on the industry standards or existing codes of practice. Other techniques are listed such as hazard surveys, accident reports, critical task identification, and safety audits. Risk estimation. The next step after hazard identification is to find the risks and estimate those risks. Remember that the risk assessment is often an iterative process. New risks can still be found in this step and will often become visible when other risks are estimated. Method of risk estimation. Risk estimation can be done using different methods. The standard presents three different types of methods. It is important to have a common method when estimating risk. This is to make sure that the risks are estimated equally. Probability and severity, which means severity of harm and probability of occurrence of harm. Risk matrix, risk graph, and numerical scoring. So this is the table of risk assessment matrix. Risk evaluation. This stage is all about assessing the threats that have previously found and predicted. In the method, it is a crucial phase because it is here where determination of which steps need to do to reduce those risks, whether there are some actions at all to take. Risk reduction has two main objectives. The first one is to decide if a hazardous situation requires further risk reduction. And the second one is to determine if risk reduction has introduced new hazards or increased other risks. Risk analysis. Meaning of risk is equal to exposure multiplied by consequences. And meaning of exposure is equal to population multiplied with frequency. Data collection that will be collected from workshop visit will use to perform risk analysis. And risk analysis will be done by using risk equation. This is the research methodology flowchart. We start with hazard identification, then move on to hazard measurement using specific tool and equipment, and then we can also use hazard measurement by observation or monitor process, and the last one is checklist distribution to workers. Then if all fulfill the requirement, then we can do the risk analysis, risk evaluation, verify the result, conclusion, make the conclusion and recommendation. Summaries of data collection. Data collection will be divided into two major components. The first one is observation or monitor, and the second one is measurement. Checklist distribution to workers is to determine the level of knowledge regarding the safety and health at workplace. Thank you.